Hello class and welcome to chapter 4. We're going to be covering business challenges within the 7 domains. Here are a few of the topics that we'll be covering for this chapter. The user domain encompasses all aspects of how end users interact with an organization's information, whether digitally or physically. This includes not just how they use computer systems, but also how they handle printed materials and other forms of data. One of the most important aspects of the user domain is awareness and training. Users need to be familiar with and understand the key policies that govern their behavior, such as acceptable use policies, which are broad rules for conduct when using company devices and accessing data. Email policy, which are guidelines for appropriate use of the company's email system. Private policy, the organization's commitment to protecting personal and sensitive information. System access policy, rules for accessing company systems and applications. Physical security and clean desk policy, which is the expected behavior in the workplace to protect physical access and data. Corporate mobility policy, which are security requirements and expectations for mobile device use. And social network policy, which is guidance on posting company-related information on social media. Beyond awareness, the user domain also involves critical technical controls, particularly around authentication and authorization. Organizations must choose authentication methods that balance security and usability, such as multi-factor authentication for sensitive systems. Authorization is about ensuring that users only have access to data and functions they need for their specific job roles. Two common approaches are role-based access control, which are permissions assigned to roles, and users are granted roles based on their responsibilities, and attributes-based role, which is access determined dynamically based on attributes of the user, resource, action, and environment. Here's a figure that shows the relationship between authentication, authorization, and access control. The workstation domain covers all the endpoint devices that users interact with directly, such as desktop computers, laptops, and mobile devices. Securing these endpoints is crucial, as they are often the entry point for malware, hacking attempts, and data leaks. Several key functions need to be addressed in the workstation domain. Inventory management, which is tracking all devices that connect to the network, including their hardware and software configuration. Discovery management, which is detecting installed software on devices to ensure compliance with licenses and security policies. Patch management, which is ensuring that all devices have the latest security updates and patches installed. Help desk management, which is providing support to users for issues related to their devices, including security incidents. And log management, which is collecting and analyzing logs from workstations to detect and investigate security events. Organizations have several approaches to managing workstation devices. You have bring your own device, which allows users to use their personal devices for work purposes with appropriate security controls. You have choose your own device, which provides users with a selection of approved devices that they can use for work. And company owned personally enabled, which is where the company provides devices but only allows for some personal use. Regardless of the approach, workstation security policies should cover areas like approved hardware and software configurations, encryption requirements for stored data and communications, antivirus and anti-malware protection, user permissions and restrictions, and incident reporting and response procedures. Here's a chart that shows the comparison of the approaches that we just discussed. The LAN domain includes all the equipment and infrastructure that makes up an organization's local area network, usually within a single office or building. This includes devices like switches, routers, and firewalls that control the flow of the network traffic. Switches are used to connect devices within the LAN and route traffic efficiently. Routers are used to connect different LANs together or to connect a LAN to a WAN. Firewalls, which can be hardware or software based, are used to filter traffic and enforce security policies at the network perimeter. One key consideration in the LAN domain is network segmentation. In a flat network, all devices can communicate with each other freely, which can make it easy for threats to spread and for attackers to move laterally once they gain a foothold. In a segmented network, the LAN is divided into smaller networks, each isolated by firewalls or other network controls. This can help contain the impact of a breach and make it harder for attackers to reach sensitive assets. Another risk in the LAN domain is sniffing. If a network is not adequately secure, an attacker could use a sniffing tool to intercept sensitive data or credentials. Techniques like port security, encryption, and virtual LANs can help mitigate this risk. Security policies for the LAN domain should address network architecture and segmentation, access control for network devices, configuration standards for switches, routers, and firewalls, monitoring and logging of network activity, and network response procedures for network-based attacks. Here's a figure that shows network segmentation and how it works. The LAN to WAN domain is the interface between an organization's local network and the wider internet or other external networks. It's a crucial boundary that requires careful security controls to prevent unauthorized access and data leakage. A key concept in the LAN to WAN domain is the DMZ. A DMZ is a subnet that sits between the LAN and the WAN, typically used to host services that need to be accessible from the internet, such as web servers, email servers, and DNS servers. The purpose of a demilitarized zone is to provide an additional layer of security. By placing these public-facing services in a separate network segment, the organization can better control access to them and limit the potential impact if one of them is compromised. Security policies for the demilitarized zone should be very strict. They should specify how the DMZ traffic is limited and monitored, how the DMZ servers are configured, and how often security assessments like penetration testing are conducted. Other security controls commonly used in the LAN to WAN domain include firewalls with strict inbound and outbound traffic filtering rules, intrusion detection and prevention systems to monitor for and block malicious activity, virtual private networks to secure communications with remote sites or users, and data loss protection solutions to prevent sensitive data from leaving the network. Here's a figure that shows the placement of a DMZ in a workstation. The WAN domain refers to the wide area network that connects an organization's different sites, which in most cases is the internet. While the internet is a public network, organizations can use various technologies to create secure private connections over this shared infrastructure. When it comes to the WAN, organizations are primarily concerned with three factors: cost, reliability, and speed. The internet backbone plays a key role in WAN performance. This refers to the principal data routes between large, strategically interconnected networks and core routers on the internet. Internet backbone networks are typically operated by major telecommunication carriers and internet service providers. The term hop refers to the journey a packet takes from one router to the next as it traverses the network. Each time a packet is forwarded to the next router, a hop occurs. The more hops, the longer it takes for data to get to its destination. Security policies for the WAN domain should cover approved connection types and their security configurations, encryption requirements for data in transit over the WAN, access control and authentication for remote sites and users, and monitoring and incident response for WAN-based threats. Common security controls for the WAN domain include virtual private networks to create secure tunnels over the public internet, software-defined perimeter solutions to create zero-trust network access, cloud access security brokers to secure cloud application usage, and secure web gateways to enforce web security policies. The remote access domain deals with how users connect to the organization's network from outside the office. This has become important in the era of remote work and mobile devices. Organizations want remote access solutions that provide flexibility, reliability, and speed. Mobile devices in particular offer significant benefits for remote work. They allow quick responses to email, access to business apps, and real-time data lookup. However, they also introduce new security risks such as lost or stolen devices containing sensitive data, malware infections from untrusted apps, and interception of data over public Wi-Fi networks. To mitigate these risks, security policies for remote access domain need to address questions like who owns the device, who has the right to wipe the device if it's lost or stolen, how data is encrypted on the device, how patches and updates are applied, and who is allowed to have remote access to the network. Technical controls for remote access typically involve virtual private networks to create a secure tunnel into the network, multi-factor authentication to verify the user's identity, mobile device management to enforce policies and protect data on mobile devices, and zero trust network access to grant least privileged access to specific applications. The system application domain encompasses all the systems and software that an organization uses to collect, process, and store its data. This includes databases, file servers, enterprise applications, and cloud services. In this domain, an organization has two primary security concerns. Is the information safe from unauthorized access or tampering? And can we prevent confidential information from leaking outside the organization? To address these concerns, many organizations implement a data loss prevention program. A data loss prevention program is a strategy for making sure that end users do not send sensitive or critical information outside the corporate network. It involves a combination of policies, training, and technical controls. A typical DLP program has several elements. Inventory, which involves discovering and classifying sensitive data across the organization, including on endpoints, in databases, and in cloud services. Perimeter controls, which monitor data in motion as it traverses the network perimeter. They can inspect email, web traffic, and other communications for sensitive content and block or quarantine potential data leaks. Device management, which ensures that data at rest on endpoints and servers is protected. Controls may include encryption, access control, and data removal when a device is retired or repurposed. Other important aspects of the system application domain include secure development practices for in-house applications, thorough security testing of third-party applications, regular patching and updates to address known vulnerabilities, backup and disaster recovery to protect against data loss, access control and monitoring for databases and file shares, and security configurations for cloud services and APIs. Here are a few of the benefits of having a data loss program. That concludes this chapter, and thank you for listening.